it's okay. It's on. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon to all of you. So, shall we start? Yesterday, we discussed about integration of some important princely states into Indian Union. We had discussed about the princely state of Kashmir, and we also discussed about the princely state of Hyderabad. Clear? We had discussed important issues attached with the integration of these princely states and how the princely states got unified to give a proper shape to India as a nation in post-independent era. Clear? Today we'll discuss about another major state which was integrated after India's independence, and this, even though being a small state unlike Hyderabad, but proved to be highly strategic in nature. We'll understand about the importance of this princely state. Before we start, clear? Any question that comes to your mind, anything that needs to be asked regarding the last class, any question that comes to your mind, just feel free to ask questions, because obviously when someone will ask questions, it will be a clarity for other students also. Clear? So someone asked about standstill agreement, some of them asked about questions related to LAC and LOC yesterday. So any question that comes to your mind before we start with integration of another princely state. Any question that comes to your mind? Clear? Fine. Shall we start? So just understand, we'll start with the another princely state of Sikkim. So we'll start with integration of a very important princely state that existed in pre-independent era as Sikkim. Being students of geography, clear? What is so important about Sikkim geopolitically? Geopolitically, why Sikkim is very important? Even now, I'm talking about. It is the 8th state of northeastern part. Sikkim also, along with 7 states that are adjoining with each other. Sikkim is quite away. What is geopolitical importance of Sikkim? Buffer region with Tibet. Buffer region with Tibet, you mean to say China? But do you think that right now Sikkim is a buffer state because we have a trading pass along with Sikkim? Nathula Pass is there. So anyway, we don't have this buffer zone. Buffer zone means something that is totally separate between two entities. But we have got a passage altogether. Nathula Pass is there. It was opened in 2003. And since then, China has become one of the largest trading partner of India. Clear? One thing is very important, that not only US and the countries, China itself is one of the biggest partner of India with respect to bilateral trade. Clear? So Nathula Pass is there. What is so important geopolitically? Why Sikkim is so important? What is Green Corridor? Green Corridor is an area whereby this passage along Sikkim is promoted between two major powers, India and China. Clear? It's a passage. Basically, Nathula Pass was opened basically to promote closer ties between India and China on a very permanent basis. Clear? So what is geopolitical importance? Any one of you, being students of geography, yeah, please.
Other country like China, the important corridor that is
Silicon Corridor.
in future any crisis arises with a country like China, then if China gets control over Silicon, then it would be very difficult for India to
See, it's a contrafactual thing that you are discussing about, that if it can happen, clear? But first of all, India will never allow such things to happen, clear? That Sikkim to go, we allowed Tibet to go to China when it was conquered in 1950, clear? Tibet was a real buffer zone between India and China, clear? We allowed Tibet to go back to China in 1950, clear? Because we realized that obviously Tibet largely belonged to China, clear? And thereafter we gave asylum also to Tibetan leader Dalai Lama in 1959. That resulted into Sino-Indian War. See, geostrategic importance, geopolitical importance is, yeah, there's one student online, it has ordered with 3 countries border Sikkim properly, clear? One is Nepal on the one side, Bhutan on the other side, India. And if you take Tibet also, clear? Not far away from Sikkim. So it is at the cusp of 4 major South Asian powers. That is China on the northern side, Indian territory on the southern side, and Nepal and Bhutan on the 2 eastern and western flanks. So obviously, it is a matter of interest for all the countries to have indirect influence over Sikkim to have control over other areas as well. This is the most important geopolitical importance of Sikkim. Clear? Now, when India became independent in 1947, Sikkim was a princely state ruled by Buddhist monarchs. They were termed as Chogyals. Clear? So, Chogyals was a traditional designation given to the rulers of Sikkim. They belonged to Namgyal dynasty, and the rulers were termed as Chogyal rulers in Sikkim. Clear? When at the same time India was granted independence, it was made clear that India would look after the external security of Sikkim, meaning thereby Sikkim was to be protected by government of India. Clear? And at the same time, Lord Mountbatten also made it clear that if people of Sikkim are ready, Sikkim can even be integrated with Indian Union. Clear? Just understand, Nehru went to Sikkim. He conducted a public referendum and he was very confident. The reason being, even though Sikkim was ruled by Buddhist monarch, majority of the population Sikkim comprised of Hindu population. So we had this idea that Sikkim in this referendum will vote in favor of integration with India and Sikkim would become proper part of Indian Union. But in this referendum, majority of the people of Sikkim did not favor India, did not vote in favor of integration with Indian Union. Therefore, Nehru gave the status of protectorate state to Sikkim. Clear? Protectorate state means India will safeguard the external policy and defense of Sikkim without interfering into internal matters of Sikkim. So we respected the referendum given by the people of Sikkim and we gave Sikkim the status of protectorate state at that time. Clear? This was the status. Clear? So no harm was there. We protected Sikkim since then, since 1947. But things began to get complicated because of two major developments. Clear? These two developments were 1962 war between India and China and 1965 war between India and Pakistan. Clear? Now, why things began to get complicated and Sikkim became much more strategic for India, much more important for India. The reason was, at that time when China fought a war with India, Chinese forces entered into Sikkim and effectively Sikkim came under the control of Chinese military forces. So formally it was the protectorate state of India, but effectively it came under the control of Chinese military forces. It became a point of concern for India because through Sikkim, they could enter into interior parts of India. Will not come to Siliguri corridor right now. Clear? At the same time, this was in 1962. In 1965, full-fledged war took place between India and Pakistan. Clear? Pakistani forces also entered beyond POK and Indian forces also went up to Lahore and they hoisted Indian flag at Lahore. Clear? So thereafter, decision was taken to end this war between General Ayub Khan and Indian Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, in which mediator was played by Soviet Union that called a conference at Tashkent, also known as Tashkent Agreement between India and Pakistan on 10th of January 1966. Clear? Not while returning. After signing this agreement, only after a few hours, he died under mysterious circumstances. Clear? Postmortem report made this clear. And why it was, I'll let you know this also, because at that time, Indian armed forces who went up to Lahore, they demanded that at least POK should be taken with India. This was the right time. Clear? But rather than taking POK, Lal Bahadur Shastri also accepted line of control or ceasefire line as the boundary between India and Pakistan. So all major efforts of Indian armed forces were lost because we did not get whole Kashmir also after 1965 war. Therefore, it is not a big surprise that it may have been some retaliation by armed forces that led to the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri, because the death was under mysterious circumstances, cannot be denied. Clear? Meanwhile, POK is still retained under Pakistan. But after 1965 war, Pakistan and China came together, took some malified objectives to affect India's territorial integrity. That needs to be understood very carefully. And therefore, Sikkim became very important for India. Clear? And here only, to deal with this crisis of both Pakistan and China, yesterday only we had discussed that Indira Gandhi decided first to ensure food security for millions of people through Green Revolution. Clear? This was the most important thing. And realizing this problem only, Pakistan went on hammering India in post-independent era. Clear? At this time, the first step taken by Indira Gandhi came to know that this may happen. Clear? And what was the objective of Pakistan and China? At that time, Pakistan was in two formats. One was West Pakistan, that was in form of Urdu-speaking people in northwestern part of India. Another was East Pakistan, which was Bengali-dominated Muslim region in the eastern part. Both separated far away from each other. Clear? At this time, the malified objective planned by Pakistan and China was that since Chinese forces were already there in Sikkim, clear, through Sikkim they made it clear they will go further south towards Indian territory, and towards the south of Sikkim we have only a narrow passage through which we are connected with northeastern part of India, clear, and this narrow passage is termed as the Siliguri corridor, clear, and this corridor gets further narrowed down because of topographical diversity, and it takes the form of Chicken's Neck. It's known as Chicken's Neck area, clear. So Chinese forces planned that through Sikkim they will block the Chicken's Neck area and the whole northeastern region will be demarcated from India. And at the same time, it was also planned, not only China will do this thing, clear, East Pakistan, that is Bengali speaking Muslims, they will attack Siliguri corridor from the southern side, clear. So simultaneously from northern and southern side, the Chicken's Neck would be blocked, and at the same time the northeastern region would be demarcated from India. So it was a plan to divide India altogether, clear. In order to deal with this, clear, Indira Gandhi realized this necessity. She first of all established close association with the world's most developed spy agency. Just wanted to know about information in other countries. The world's most developed spy agency being Mossad of Israel, clear, and with support or technical assistance of Mossad from Israel, she constituted intelligence wing in India known as the Research and Analysis Wing, or RAW. And RAW was constituted in 1968 under the guidance of Rameshwar Nath Kao, RN Kao, clear, and technical assistance provided by Mossad from Israel, clear. And when RAW was constituted in 1968, RAW agents were deported by Indira Gandhi to other parts like East Pakistan and even Sikkim to gather sensitive information to deal with this crisis, clear, along with food security. At the same time, when RAW agents went to East Pakistan, at that time, RAW agents came to know one important thing, and the thing was people in East Pakistan already had serious grievances against West Pakistan. The reason was, since India's partition, West Pakistan never cared for East Pakistan, and it was practically not possible also separated by long distance, clear. These grievances against Urdu-speaking West Pakistan was led by Bengali-speaking East Pakistan under the leadership of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, clear, and his political party known as Awami League, clear. Therefore, RAW agents came into contact with Awami League, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and therefore RAW agents gave assurance to Awami League that India will play an important role to liberate East Pakistan from the clutches of West Pakistan. This idea was accepted by Awami League. This idea was accepted by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, clear. And therefore, after making all careful plan, Indira Gandhi initiated a war with Pakistan in 1971. This is the only conflict initiated on part of India. Otherwise, Pakistan always initiated a conflict with India. And in this conflict, India was fully prepared. India defeated the forces of Pakistan, and thereafter in 1971, East Pakistan was liberated in form of Bangladesh in 1971. So before Pakistan could divide India, India divided Pakistan, clear. This was the greatest credit given to Indira Gandhi at that time, clear. So threat from East Pakistan came to an end. Now Indira Gandhi diverted her attention towards Sikkim or China, clear, and RAW agents went to Sikkim also. Now, how RAW agents manipulated, we cannot deny, it was a huge amount of manipulation done. This manipulation was, at this time, there was an American research student, lady student, who came to India for research on Himalayan studies, clear, and this lady or this girl student who came to India for research on Himalayan studies, this was Thomas Hope. Clear? And Thomas Hope, when she was there in India, she went on conducting or collecting data on Himalayan studies. And in this process, she reached up to Sikkim as well. Clear? And she asked assistance from Chogyal, or Buddhist monarch of Sikkim. Clear? And when such assistance began to be given by Chogyal to this American student, that is Hope Cook at this time, clear? In this process, Chogyal fell into love with this lady, clear? And at the same time, same thing was responded positively by American student as well. And both even decided to enter into matrimonial alliance, clear? This issue was well utilized by raw agents, clear? How it was utilized, we need to understand. Raw agents began to spread a message in China or among Chinese soldiers that she is not a normal American student, clear? She is basically an American spy who has come here to collect all informations about China. Now, why this was taken very seriously by Chinese authority? The reason was it was 1970s and it was the peak of Cold War at global level, clear? And China and US were on opposite camps, clear? US was the head of the capitalist bloc and China was a very prominent member of the communist bloc headed by Soviet Union. Just because of this threat of Cold War phenomena, China got insecure and China immediately asked United States or Chogyal to return this lady back to United States, clear? Under huge pressure given by China, Chogyal asked this girl student to return back to US, clear? She returned back to United States at this time, but this was a big setback for Chogyal at this time, clear? And thereafter Chogyal began to tilt towards government of India, clear? And this was very well utilized by Indira Gandhi. After taking Chogyal into conference, large number of Hindu population to conference, Indira Gandhi went to conduct second referendum in Sikkim in 1975. And this time, 95% of the people of Sikkim voted in favor of integration with India. And through this public referendum, Sikkim became an integral part of India and at the same time 22nd state of Indian Union in 1975. So several issues were connected with respect to integration of Sikkim with Indian Union, even issue related to internal security, issue related to external defense as well. This was integration of Sikkim into Indian Union. First as protectorate state, first initially in 1975 as associate state and finally as 22nd state of Indian Union as per Indian constitution. This integration is clear. Mossad is very clear. I'll let you know clear. Do understand, with Israel, India promoted relationship since the regime of Indira Gandhi. But initially, India never promoted this relationship in media. India has always downplayed the relationship with Israel. Clear? Indo-Israel relationship has been promoted exactly in media only in contemporary times by present Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Because he has made it clear, Israel cannot be marginalized. Clear? In fact, he has de-hyphenated Israel policy whereby Israel-India's relationship must not be compared with India's relationship with Palestine. Clear? Why Israel is so close to our Prime Minister? There are only two countries in international relations which are very close to us right now. Clear? One is Israel for security, another is Japan for investment. Clear? And there are two countries around which our foreign policy rotates. These two countries are obviously Pakistan and China. Clear? So if you remember two axes of foreign policy, you can answer any question. Clear? First is our foreign policy rotates towards Pakistan and China. And in our foreign policy, two countries are on the radar of foreign policy right now because of our present Prime Minister also. Clear? One is Japan for investment because of infrastructure. Another is Israel for security, especially the drones. Israelis are the pioneers of drones, clear? And drones basically for surveillance, for monitoring, clear? And not only drones, Falcon radars also, clear? Barak missiles also, which are all surface-to-air missiles, clear? All these are very important developments related to Indo-Israel relationship, clear? So Mossad promoted technical assistance in the establishment of RAW, that is research and analysis wing. Rameshwar Nath Kaur at that time was chairman of Intelligence Bureau. He became the first chairman of research and analysis wing. It's clear integration of Sikkim. Right, briefly about integration of Sikkim. We had written about Kashmir and Hyderabad. Right, integration of Sikkim. integration of Sikkim. Okay. Right. The princely state of Sikkim. The princely state of Sikkim. Sikkim enjoyed protectorate state. Enjoyed the status of. Enjoyed the status of protectorate state. Status of protectorate state. After India's independence, whereby India took responsibility. India took responsibility of safeguarding its political integrity. Clear? Right. Sikkim became highly strategic. After Sino-Indian War of 1962. After Sino-Indian War of 1962 and Indo-Pak War of 1965. Indo-Pak War of 1965. Why Sino-Indian War or war between China and India is known as Sino? Why do we use the term Sino for China? Indochina is specific. Yeah, true. Indochina is a specific region. Indochina comprises of Laos, Cambodia. Yeah. Indochina, that is why we don't use the word Indochina. That is one reason. Indochina is a different geographical area comprising of Laos, Vietnam and Cambodia, Southeast Asia. Why? Indochina was the term used for, especially for Vietnam also, initially. Why we use the term Sino? There's one reason. There's another reason. Why we use the term Sino? You must be reading papers on Sino-Indian War. Why do we refer to China as Sino? Why do we refer to China as Sino? The reason is clear. The whole, is known as Sino. Not only Tibet, the whole far eastern region that includes China, Tibet, North and South Korea, even Japan, clear, till international deadline. This whole region by European experts is termed as Sino, clear, this culturally, because all of these places had homogeneous culture, clear, in modern times. So this whole region is termed as Sino initially, clear, but in course of time, South, North and South China, South Korea became independent, Japan has its own culture, therefore right now we use the term Sino only for China and Tibet. But this whole region culturally by Western experts is termed as Sino region, culturally as homogeneous region, clear? Because largely they are known about the tribal sections, that is the tribals comprising of the people from Far Eastern region, clear? Far Eastern region including Mongolites also. You must have read in geography, Mongolites also. So it was homogeneous region, it was totally termed as Sino. But right now, Sino refers only to China and Tibet region. So the war between India and China being known as Sino-Indian War. 62, Indo-Pak War of 1965. Right thereafter, both China and Pakistan, made a plan to divide Indian territory, Clear. Right. It was decided that Chinese forces in Sikkim, since 1962 will attack a narrow passage known as a narrow passage known as the chicken's neck. Known as the chicken's neck from the northern side. Chicken's neck from the northern side. Northern side. And forces of East Pakistan. Forces of East Pakistan will attack the same area from the southern side. Same area from the southern side simultaneously. Simultaneously. Clear? Right. Realizing this threat. Next sentence. Realizing this threat. Indira Gandhi, Indian Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi constituted the research and analysis wing. Constituted research and analysis wing under the leadership of Rameshwar Nath, under the leadership of Rameshwar Nath Kao, RN Kao, Chief of Intelligence Bureau, Rameshwar Nath Kao, with technical assistance from Mossad, the world's most developed spy network. Technical assistance from Mossad. See, if time permits, it's very important to discuss India's approach with Israel. Israel is a very important country right now for India's defense. Yeah? Ajay Doval, National Security Advisor. In fact, he deals with raw only. Clear? Yeah. Several years he was there in Pakistan under disguise, which got not be known to us. But at the same time, he is basically associated with raw only, intelligence only. Clear? Because he is considered to be the modern Chanakya of Indian politics. He basically deals with external defense of India. Clear? And with promoting relationship with Israel also, he is always very keen. Clear? Because Israel is most important. And it's very important for you to understand that in Kargil War of 1999, India had almost lost the war. Yeah, we had almost lost the war. Clear? It was clear because Pakistani forces from high altitude, Kargil sector, they began to fire on Indian forces at lower altitude. Clear? It almost was clear that we cannot win this war. And more importantly, the guns that we were using, those guns did not fire only. There were outdated guns. Clear? It did not fire because those guns, most of those guns were basically taken from Bofors. They were Bofors guns. They did not fire only. Clear? And at the barrels began to burst at that time. And Pakistan came to know that Indian guns are not working. They went on reinforcing their attack. We were on the verge of being defeated. Clear? But at that time, by God's grace, Israel came to the rescue of India without demanding that support. And Israel came to the rescue of India only with one consideration, that Israel never wants an Islamic country to win a war any part of the world because of conflict between Jewish and Islamic faith. Clear? Israel is very important because Israel is a country of Jewish faith. And all Islamic countries of the world, not only West Asia, they are totally against Israel. That is why Congress party never played this relationship in media, because Congress party always realized Muslim sentiments to be respected in India just because of consolidated vote bank. Clear? This was the real that it was never played in media. And that is why even though when it was done, it was kept as a secret affair. This is a very important thing. Clear? Only with respect to our Prime Minister, because obviously this Prime Minister is not concerned about appeasement of Muslim politics. That is known to everyone. And more importantly, I'll let you know, it's a very interesting phenomena. After 2002 Godhra riots, all countries denied visa to Chief Minister of Gujarat, that is Narendra Modi at that time. Clear? There was only one country who invited Narendra Modi, especially. And that country was none other than Israel. Israel invited Narendra Modi. He could not visit at that time. But when he became Prime Minister, it was made clear Israel will be always on the radar of Prime Minister. Clear? And in fact, he became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel recently. Clear? First, till this time we have not visited Israel just because we never wanted to mess up with vote bank politics in India. He became the first Prime Minister. And Benjamin Netanyahu gave a statement also in Israel. Tel Aviv, we waited for you for 70 years. We waited for Indian Prime Minister for 70 years. Clear? He went there at that time. Clear? And from there, healthy ties began to develop between India and Israel. And made clear, we are not against Palestinians, but this relationship needs to be dehyphenated from Indo-Palestinian relationship. It's a religious reason. And therefore, it's a very sensitive relationship. Clear? Even though Israel cannot be marginalized, but when Congress party comes to power, it is not shown in media. It is downplayed in media. But this government is not concerned with appeasement of Muslims. Obviously, the government is clearly in favor of, openly in favor of Israel. This is a reality. Clear? So Israel is always very sensitive. But at that time, Indira Gandhi took assistance from Mossad to establish research and analysis wing, way back in 1968. Clear? Right? With help.
Sir, when you are using the word appeasement, it means overdoing of the thing or just seeking their votes?
See, again, I'll let you know. It's basically, if you look into conditions, it was not basically not overdoing the things. It was basically something just to give certain sops to them, that we will be doing something for you, clear? And you are safeguarded with under our rule. That is the only thing. Yeah, obviously. It's basically nothing more than that. But that has been totally diminished in recent times. Yeah. And this is clearly exhibited in Indo-Israel relationship. Whenever Israeli Prime Minister used to visit India, 2003, Ariel Sharon came. Muslim organization took protest demonstration all across India. Clear? But when Ariel Sharon came, he gave huge amount of support to India. In fact, Israel gave an agriculture technique to India known as drip irrigation, which is followed in agriculture research PUSA also. Clear? Israel is pioneer in drip irrigation. Israel is pioneer horticulture crops. And Israel gives large number of defense materials to India. Clear? That cannot be taken from any other country. Clear? And when Israel came to assist India at that time, fortunately, it was not Congress party. Indian government was headed by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Clear? He accepted that. And through aerial strike, Israel began to attack Pakistani forces. And in Kargil war, India became victorious. It was because of Israeli support, cannot be denied. Clear? And since then, India started to come closer to Israel. So Israel is very important for India's security, especially with consideration to Pakistan. Clear? So we always have to take Israel into confidence. This is one thing to be understood. So, but in domestically, there's a problems with regard to vote bank politics. Clear? This is an important aspect. That is why the present government enjoys huge support also. Because till this time, we had always sided with Palestinians, not with Israel. But for the first time, we have come openly with support to Israel, not only with Palestinians. Clear? And just because of change in internal dynamics of Indian politics. It's because of this development. So this needs to be understood in larger perspective. So Mossad and RAW, clear? Right, with RAW agents. To large extent, clear? But establishment of RAW was largely because of technical support given by Mossad. Right, with RAW agents, Indian government, with RAW agents, Indian government came to know, Indian government came to know about serious grievances, among the people of East Pakistan, clear? Right, the Bengali speaking people, headed by Awami League, and its leader, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, gave assurance of support to India. Clear? Right, with careful military preparation. India declared war against Pakistan. And liberated East Pakistan and liberated East Pakistan as Bangladesh in 1971. As Bangladesh in 1970. So one threat came to an end. Change paragraph, clear? Right, thereafter, raw agents began to play active role in Sikkim, and tried to manipulate political developments. Right, at this time, an American student, Hope Cook, she became a big hope for India at that time. Yeah? We capitalized at this time. Hope Cook came to India for research on Himalayan studies. Clear? Right. She was assisted by the traditional monarch of Sikkim. Chogyal. And both even decided to enter into matrimonial alliance. Okay? Like the raw agents began to spread the message. That Hope Cook is an American spy. Who has come to collect sensitive information. About China. Clear? Right. This led to insecurity among Chinese. Since it was the peak of Cold War. US and China on opposite camps. Since it was the peak of Cold War. Clear? I hope you understand Cold War. All scenarios of war prevail except actual fighting. The phenomena being termed as Cold War. It was basically an ideological conflict between communism and capitalism after Second World War. Continued till 1991, till the disintegration of one bloc, that is Soviet Union. Clear? So Cold War. Like Chinese authority forced Chogyal to return this girl back to America. That this affected the sentiments of Chogyal. And he began to support Indian government to counter China. Clear? Right. Consequently, India conducted public referendum We had discussed the concept of referendum yesterday. Plebiscite and referendum are different things. Referendum means by the public themselves. Indian government asked Sikkim to conduct referendum. So people of Sikkim only conducted referendum on their own. If plebiscite could have been there, it would have been forced measure by government of India. So it was people initiatives that conduct referendum. So conduct public referendum which went in favor of Indian Union. Clear? Right. Sikkim was integrated first as the associate state. Then associate and then followed by a full-fledged state of Indian Union, then followed by full-fledged state of Indian Union in 1975. In this way, we integrated Sikkim, very strategic province, to be integrated as princely state into Indian Union. Clear? See, these are prominent princely states to be integrated. Clear? Integration through two important agreements known as the Standstill Agreement and then Instrument of Accession. Clear? The other princely states as well, but just for your understanding how the process of persuasion and pressure followed that result in integration, this sense needs to be there. Clear? Now, apart from integration of princely states, from the perspective of political geography, the much more important thing is how the integrated states within Indian frontier were reorganized in post-independent era, the topic being known as the reorganization of states in India. Clear? Do understand the phenomena of states reorganization in post-independent era. First of all, clear? When large number of princely states were integrated and proper defined boundary came into being for India after 1950, meanwhile at this time only, demand for states reorganization began to be raised, first of all, again by Telugu speaking people in the region of Hyderabad. We had discussed the integration, we had discussed Telugu speaking people along with Urdu speaking people were dominant in Hyderabad, along with Kannada and Marathi speaking people, multi-linguistic state. Clear? So Telugu speaking people wanted states reorganization to be done on the basis of language, and they wanted a new Telugu state to be created in southern part of India. Before we discuss this, we need to understand this was altogether not a misplaced demand. Clear? States reorganization in pre-independent era had taken place on linguistic criteria. The most important example being that as per Government of India Act 1935, British only demarcated the Hindi-speaking state of Bihar from Odia-speaking state of Odisha, which was separated from Bengal. So states reorganization had already been done on linguistic criteria. So this was not altogether misplaced. So Telugu-speaking people in Hyderabad wanted a Telugu-speaking state to be created in the southern part of India. Clear? Initially, this demand was outrightly rejected. Clear? Several committees were constituted like JVP committee and other committees. They outrightly rejected the demand for linguistic reorganization of states in India. But in course of time, this demand became intensified. And in this process only, there was a local Telugu leader in Hyderabad named as P. Sriramalu. He sat on hunger strike. And after 56 days of epic fast, this person died. Clear? And as soon as this person died in 1952, wave of sympathy went in favor of Telugu demand at this time. And therefore, Union Government of India was forced in fact to create the first state on linguistic criteria, and this state was created in form of Simandra, also known as simply as Andhra. Simandra because two coastal belts were connected to create this state. These two coastal belts were coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema. Clear? So coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema combined together was termed as Simandra region, and simply it was termed as Andhra in 1952. It became the first linguistic state to be created in India. At the same time, in 1956, an interior region was added, which was also dominated by Telugu-speaking people, including the city of Hyderabad, and this region was Telangana. And when Telangana was added to Simandra region, Simandra was named as Vishal Andhra or the Big Andhra. And formerly this state was named as Andhra Pradesh in 1956. So Andhra Pradesh constituted three geographical regions: coastal Andhra, Rayalaseema and Telangana, including the city of Hyderabad. This was done. Meanwhile, Government of India has constituted one state on linguistic criteria. Government of India constituted a States Reorganization Commission, SRC, in 1953 under the chairmanship of Dr. Fazal Ali, also known as Fazal Ali Commission. Clear? And it also included two other members, H. N. Kunzru and a historian, K. M. Panikkar from Malabar region. Clear? This States Reorganization Commission gave its recommendations in 1955, and that became the basis for the enactment of States Reorganization Act of 1956. This act accepted the criteria of language for reorganization of states because one state had already been created. But at the same time, it made it clear this cannot be the only criteria for creation of states. Socioeconomic criteria, regional balance, as well as proper utilization of resources can also be the criteria for creation of states in future. And with these provisions, States Reorganization Act was enacted in 1956. Clear? And thereafter, states began to be created in course of time. The first two states to be created on linguistic criteria as per this legislation was the states of Maharashtra and Gujarat, as Marathi and Gujarati speaking regions bifurcated from the princely region of Bombay province. Clear? This was done on 1st of May 1960. But at the same time, after some time only, people of Telangana realized that their integration with Andhra Pradesh was not a wise decision. And therefore, a prolonged agitation started in southern part of India known as Telangana movement to get Telangana separated from Vishal Andhra or Simandra region. And ultimately, it resulted into separation of Telangana from Andhra Pradesh in the year 2014. But here, several geopolitical reasons are to be understood why Telangana demanded its separation from Vishal Andhra or Andhra Pradesh, which has become a matter of debate in India. Clear? We'll discuss those geopolitical reasons behind this. Clear? First, states reorganization is clear. Now, what are those factors? Any one of you? What of being students of geography? Clear? First of all, you must be knowing also. Clear? That with respect to drainage system in India, clear? There's a clear-cut difference between northern and southern part of India. The rivers in northern part of India are perennial in nature because these rivers are not only rain-fed, these are also snow-fed. At the same time, all the rivers in peninsular part of India, they are only rain-fed, so they are not perennial in nature. You must be knowing all these things, clear? At the same time, you also must be knowing the physical feature of southern part of India. The peninsular part of India, or the peninsular plateau of India, this plateau is always in a tilted form. That is, it is on the upper hand in the western side of India and tilted towards the eastern side. So, most of the rivers originate on the western Ghat, and after crossing the whole peninsular plateau, it drains into Bay of Bengal region, except two rivers. The two rivers are in form gorges, Narmada and Tapi. Otherwise, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, they all originate in the western side of Peninsular Plateau. After draining across Peninsular Plateau, they drain into Bay of Bengal region. But with this only, the political concept that needs to be understood is that since these rivers are not perennial in nature, distribution of river waters in peninsular part of India has always been a matter of conflict. Clear? And it is largely based on geographical factor. Clear? Looking back into with this concept, the historical background, clear? This was the major conflict between two dynasties in ancient India, Pallavas and Chalukyas. Clear? This also was the main reason of conflict between two dynasties in medieval India, the Vijayanagar and the Bahmanids. Clear? And same phenomena was witnessed with respect to Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. We need to understand. Clear? Two major rivers, Krishna and Godavari, originating from the western side, that flowed across the region to Bay of Bengal. Of these two rivers, 67% of the catchment area of these two rivers were confined in Telangana, clear, and remaining part in Andhra Pradesh before draining into Bay of Bengal region, clear. But at the same time, people of Telangana could not create any embankment also to store this water, because they wanted to keep this water, because rivers are not perennial. They wanted to store this water for agriculture, because main history of economy is rice production in this region, waterlogged regions, clear. They needed that. But since it could not be stored because it was a part of Vishal Andhra, that is Simandhra as well, water drained into Bay of Bengal region, they realized it is better to have a separate state altogether so as to plan the use of water effectively, which was not possible in unified state of Vishal Andhra or Andhra Pradesh. This became a geopolitical factor for the demand of separation of Telangana. That's one reason. Another major factor was the city of Hyderabad. The reason is all major educational institutions, largely engineering and medical colleges, were confined in the city of Hyderabad, clear. And at the same time, in this city, large inflow of students took place from different parts of Andhra Pradesh, clear. And these students began to enter into tough competition to get seats for in engineering and medical colleges. And maximum inflow was from the region of Rayalaseema, because among all the three regions, Rayalaseema is the most backward region, clear. So large influx of students came to Hyderabad to get into leading engineering and medical colleges. Most of them got through also, but at the same time this affected the interest of the students of proper Telangana. They realized their seats are being taken by outsiders, that is coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema, just because it is unified with Andhra Pradesh. So they wanted, if Telangana is separated, the seats in these colleges would be largely reserved for native students of Telangana. This became another demand for the students of Telangana. Third major issue was that all major multinational entities and corporations are confined in the city of Hyderabad. Obviously, large number of educated youths, they went to Hyderabad to get more and more job opportunities, which was not there in coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema, clear. Obviously, strict competition took place with respect to jobs also. Therefore, native youths of Telangana demanded that their prospects are being affected just because of integration with coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema. If it is separated, the job opportunities available in Hyderabad would be available largely for them only. They also wanted separation of Telangana from Andhra Pradesh. This resulted into long and prolonged agitation known as Telangana movement, led by a political party known as Telangana Rashtra Samiti, TRS, headed by K. Chandrasekhar Rao or KCR, clear. And due to prolonged agitation, finally Telangana was created as a separate state, though in an abrupt fashion, on 2nd of June 2014, clear. Political issues cannot be sidelined, because Congress party, before going out of power in 2014, at least wanted Telangana to be created as a strong Congress bastion, clear, because KCR made it clear that he will always remain to be a firm supporter of Congress if Congress creates Telangana. It is another matter that after creation of Telangana, KCR never supported Congress, clear. This became a major development that led to creation of Telangana in 2014. Developments leading to reorganization of states. So this state needs to be discussed because geopolitical reasons or factors associated with Telangana movement. This plateau is also known as Telangana Plateau, clear. Very important plateau that marks the rivers Krishna and Godavari. It's clear. Right heading as the reorganization of states. The reorganization of states. Actually, only 1 hour has been allotted, clear. Since we had discussed the whole things, clear. Whenever next session is there, I'll make you write all these things, don't worry, clear. And more importantly, I'll let you know, clear. Not only this, we'll discuss the reorganization most comprehensively in northeastern part of India. Maximum reorganization has been done in northeastern, whereby large state of Assam has been divided into 7 states, clear. Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur was a princely state. At the same time, Meghalaya, abode of clouds and all, because of ethnic consideration and because of climatic conditions, clear. So maximum of comprehensive reorganization done in northeastern parts of India. Assam being bifurcated continuously, clear. Not only plain regions left, clear. Otherwise, Nepal has become Arunachal Pradesh, we have Tripura or Tepara, then we have Mizoram, Meghalaya, Manipur as a princely state. We'll come to that first. Is it clear? I'll make you write the reorganization of states in the next session. Clear? You'll get the schedule. I'll make you write all these things because it is only 1 hour that has to be taken. Any question that comes to your mind beyond this? Clear? Any question that comes to your mind with regard to reorganization of states or any other thing, with regard to any other geopolitical issues that is currently going on? Bundelkhand, yeah, it's a very important issue that is going on. See, go through all these regions also. These are very important. And in fact, I'll let you know, clear? Don't think that these are only geographical issues. Even it will help you in current affairs and general studies also, because Telangana movement and all, it may have geopolitical issues, but it's a part of current developments also. Clear? B.N. Krishna report, clear? Retired Chief Justice of India was commissioned there and he submitted his report whereby said that Telangana's demand is right, but Telangana cannot be separated. So B.N. Krishna report made it clear separation of Telangana is not an option. But then also Congress party in haste created Telangana in an abrupt fashion. It was a night decision taken, clear, on 2nd of June 2014. Important issues, clear? We'll continue. I'll make you write about reorganization of states in the next session. It is fine, clear? Thank you. Yeah, there are some important information comes from online session also. Fazal Ali committee, more than 40% come from Hyderabad. In Telangana also, again, this is very important, not 40%. 44% of the total revenue of Andhra Pradesh was generated only in Hyderabad. Clear? So obviously Hyderabad was a point to be taken into consideration. Telangana wanted Hyderabad to be placed under its command. Clear? So Telangana, at the same time when it has been separated, you must be knowing Hyderabad remains to be capital of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh capital is Amravati. Again, historical reason, because Amravati was a very important cultural center in this region since ancient times. Amravati and Nagarjunikonda. The planning, but main capital will be Amravati. And Amravati capital is being planned, again, just understand, Amravati capital decided by Andhra Pradesh is being developed not only by government of Andhra Pradesh, is largely being developed and funded by government of Japan. Clear? Just because Amravati has been a Buddhist center. Clear? So maximum funding to develop Amravati is being provided by Japan. Clear? So Japan is a great contributor to promote infrastructure. DMRC also, dedicated freight corridor also. Clear? All these are being funded by Japan under ODA assistance, official development assistance. Clear? In Varanasi too. Clear? In fact, the concept, Narendra Modi has started the concept of twinning of cities also. Twinning of cities whereby Kyoto has been tilted with Calcutta. Clear? Shanghai has been tilted with Mumbai. Clear? So these are twinning of cities also being done, whereby two cities and two different countries can be developed on similar pattern. Twinning of cities is also a new concept that has emerged. Which one partnership country?
Sir, the alliance with Israel can be understood. According to the ideological stances both the countries have, but the alliance with Japan, what is the reason behind this?
The alliance between India and Japan you are talking about. See, I'll let you know very importantly, first of all, clear? Historical reason is there. Japan has always supported India's liberation before India's independence. In fact, Japan gave assistance to or assurance to Subhash Chandra Bose to liberate India from British rule. And therefore, Japanese troops along with Indian National Army began to proceed towards India. It is another matter that because of abrupt nuclear attack on Japan, Japanese aggression came to an end. It was done by United States. Thereafter only I'll let you know why it's important. It's very important to be understood. Why Japan and India came together. Clear? At that time, United Nations global bodies like United States made it clear that all those countries who had been aggressor in the Second World War and those countries who had attacked other countries, the victims' country have the right to demand huge compensation from aggressive countries. Clear? So compensation were to be demanded from Germany, compensation were to be demanded from Italy, and compensation was to be demanded from Japan. These were Axis powers. Clear? And therefore, since Japan attacked India, because Japanese forces reached up to Imphal, Manipur, clear? Indian government was given the right that whatever you want to demand as compensation, would demand it from Japan, clear? But at that time, India showed certain sensitive approach. India said that we will not demand any compensation from Japan, clear? Because Japan itself has been devastated because of nuclear attack. This gesture of India was highly respected by Japan. And Japan at that time made it clear that Japan in coming time will support India on all fronts just because of this gesture. But the point is, how come Japan had this confidence to make it clear Japan will support India in coming time, country which has been devastated by nuclear attack? And it is not a great surprise. Within a matter of few years, Japan became a developed country in Asia. It is the only country that is developed, not even China. How come? What is so important about Japan? Education. What is so distinct about Japan? Industrial, technological advancement. What is so unique about Japan? Japan also became the first Asian country to go for industrial revolution. Infrastructure. Japan culture. Japan is known all across the world for its human resource, the people. Clear? Japanese are the most disciplined and most innovative people all across the world. They don't believe in inventions, they believe in innovations. Clear? And that is why with innovations only what Japan had done is Japan has brought certain materials from other countries, added some value additions and exported the same commodity to other countries. And through import and export only, Japan has become a developed country. Clear? Automobile sector, Toyota, Suzuki, all these are Japanese companies. Clear? Japan is known for its manpower, most innovative, most disciplined community all across the world. And therefore, it is not a big surprise. After this catastrophe, Japan emerged to be a developed country. And Japan began to provide huge financial assistance to India for infrastructure growth. And that is not provided even by US. That is not provided even by Russia, the all-weather friend of India. Japan is that country. Clear? So that is why India and Japan came closer to each other. And not only this, India and Japan has come together along with US to conduct Malabar exercise to counter China also. That's the most important thing. That is why Japan is considered to be a close ally of India. There was only one issue that affected Indo-Japan relationship after India's independence, and that was India's nuclear position. Clear? Because Japan has been very sensitive, because Japan became victim of nuclear attack. When India conducted its first nuclear test in 1974, Japan opposed that. When India conducted second nuclear test in 1998, Japan proposed sanctions upon India. That has always been. But things began to change from 2001 when United States itself came closer to India to recognize India's nuclear position. Just because United States and India decided to collectively fight against global terrorism in the region of FPAC. Clear? So United States and Japan were already close, and that brought Japan under the ambit of India. No, Japan is a nuclear state, and India and Japan has concluded civil nuclear deal also. India and Japan. US provides nuclear deal, but Japan is a nuclear state, and Japan and India has even concluded civil nuclear deal. Civil nuclear deal is between India and Japan. And Japan has decided to supply nuclear materials to India to go for nuclear advancement. All major countries, clear? We had been facing this problem just because India has not been a signatory of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. So we have got some exemptions from NSG, but even then we have not signed NPT yet. That is a major problem to promote nuclear policy in India. Because without signing NPT, India cannot become a member of NSG, and without becoming a member of NSG, countries cannot provide nuclear materials and technology to India. So without signing NPT, still we are getting nuclear materials just because United States signed civil nuclear deal with India in 2005. George Bush and Manmohan Singh. And thereafter, United States convinced other countries to sign civil nuclear deal with India. Japan concluded, France concluded, Russia concluded. Even Russia has completed 2 nuclear reactors in India at Kudankulam, Tamil Nadu. And France has started or constructed 1 nuclear project at Jaitapur, modern Maharashtra. Clear? These are important developments. So these all developments took place just because United States came closer to India, because United States became victim of global terrorism in 2001. And thereafter, United States came closer to India because both decided to fight against the epicenter of terrorism, and that epicenter being confined in Pakistan and Afghanistan, FPAC region. That brought the 2 countries together. And benefit of coming closer to with superpower was other countries started to come closer to India. So the whole dynamics got changed after that. So it's basically because of NPT. The problem is with NPT. We have not signed NPT, and we are not going to sign NPT. And anyway, without signing NPT also, we are getting all nuclear assistance from major countries. Is this clear? So all things are correlated with each other. Clear? So we'll start, or I'll dictate you the reorganization of states in the next session. Clear? Thank you. Not a single drop of oil is there. Vishal Raj. Yeah, obviously the oil is not there. It's because of innovative skills of the people. Thank you.